Welcome back to Avenue of Words, your journey to better English and a better life. If you've ever felt stuck in life, if you've tried to change but keep falling back into old patterns, if you dream of success but struggle to take consistent action, then stay with me until the end of this video. Today we're exploring one of the most life-changing books I've ever read, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Let me share something personal with you. Before discovering this book, I was trapped in a cycle of starting things with excitement, only to abandon them weeks later. My goals remained dreams, floating just beyond my reach. Then I discovered the simple but profound truth inside this book: your habits shape your destiny. This isn't just another self-help theory. James Clear's work is grounded in psychology, neuroscience, and years of practical research. Atomic Habits has been praised by the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and has transformed millions of lives worldwide, from students to athletes, from business leaders to everyday people seeking positive change. The power of this book lies in its simple message. Tiny changes, when applied consistently, lead to remarkable results. Success isn't about dramatic transformations. It's about the small decisions you make every single day. Before we begin our deep dive, if you want more powerful, easy-to-understand book summaries that improve your English while changing your life, subscribe to Avenue of Words right now. Turn on the bell icon so you never miss our next empowering video. This book contains 4 powerful sections that I'll walk you through, one by one. As you listen, you'll not only learn the science of habit formation, but also improve your English listening skills, vocabulary, and confidence. So, let's begin this transformative journey together. Section 1. The surprising power of atomic habits. In this first section, James Clear introduces us to the concept of atomic habits, tiny changes that yield massive results over time. Most people think big success requires big action. They want overnight transformations, lose 20 pounds in a month, become fluent in English in 2 weeks, double their income in 90 days. But James Clear reveals a different path, the power of small improvements. He explains that if you improve just 1% every day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the end. This is the compound effect of habits. Like compound interest. In finance, habits compound in your life. Let me illustrate this with a simple story. Imagine 2 friends, Sarah and Michael. They both want to learn English. Sarah decides to study intensely for 3 hours every Sunday. Michael chooses to practice for just 20 minutes every day. After 1 month, Sarah has studied for 12 hours total. Michael has studied for 10 hours. Sarah seems ahead. But what happens after 6 months? Sarah's Sunday routine becomes harder to maintain. Some weekends she's busy or tired. She misses some sessions. Meanwhile, Michael's 20-minute daily practice becomes automatic, as natural as brushing his teeth. After 1 year, Sarah has studied sporadically, totaling perhaps 40 hours. Michael has accumulated over 120 hours of practice. More importantly, English has become part of Michael's identity. He thinks in English, he dreams in English. His progress accelerates while Sarah struggles to maintain consistency. This is the power of atomic habits, small, consistent actions that compound over time. James Clear explains that most people overestimate what they can achieve in a day, but greatly underestimate what they can achieve in a year with small, consistent steps. He introduces an important concept, the plateau of latent potential. This means that when we start a new habit, we often don't see results immediately. We work and work, seemingly getting nowhere, then suddenly breakthrough. The results appear almost as if by magic, but it wasn't magic. It was consistency breaking through the plateau. Imagine you're heating water. As you apply heat, the temperature rises from 20 degrees to 30 degrees, from 70 degrees to 80 degrees, and still, no visible change. The water remains water. Then, as you reach 100 degrees C, transformation. The water begins to boil. Did the last degree alone cause this change? No, it was the accumulation of heat that finally reached the tipping point. Your habits work the same way. You practice speaking English daily, seeing little progress. Then one day, you find yourself naturally responding to a native speaker without translating in your head first. The breakthrough happened because of all those invisible days of practice. This is why so many people give up on their goals. They put in weeks of effort, see no results, and conclude, this doesn't work. They miss the fact that breakthroughs happen after long periods of apparent stagnation. James Clear emphasizes that success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformations. Losing 50 pounds doesn't happen from one workout. Writing a book doesn't happen in one writing session. Becoming fluent in English doesn't happen from one conversation. These achievements are the sum of small habits repeated day after day. He tells us, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. This means having ambitious goals is good, but what really determines your success are the systems, the daily habits you put in place. If you want to improve your English, your goal might be become fluent, but your system is listen to English. Podcasts during my morning commute and practice speaking for 10 minutes every evening. The system is what will get you there. The most powerful idea in this section is that small habits might appear to make little difference on any given day, but the difference they make over months and years is enormous. This applies to positive habits like daily reading and negative ones, like procrastination. Success is literally the sum of small efforts repeated day after day. And this brings us to an important question. If habits are so powerful, how do we build good ones and break bad ones? Let's discover that in the next section. Section 2. How habits shape your identity. In this section, James Clear reveals something profound about habits that most books miss: the connection between habits and identity. Most people focus on outcome-based habits. They say, I want to lose weight, or I want to speak fluent English. But lasting change comes from identity-based habits. Instead of saying, I want to speak English fluently, you say, I am becoming the kind of person who practices English every day. Let's understand the difference. There are 3 layers of behavior change. 1. Outcomes. What you get, become fluent in English. 2. Processes. What you do, practice speaking for 15 minutes daily. 3. Identity. What you believe. I am an English learner who never misses practice. Most habit formation fails because people try to change their outcomes without changing their identity. But James Clear says true behavior change starts with identity change. Imagine 2 people trying to quit smoking. When offered a cigarette, the first person says, no thanks, I'm trying to quit. This person still identifies as a smoker, who is trying to be something else. The second person says, no thanks, I'm not a smoker. This person has already changed their identity. Which person do you think is more likely to succeed? This applies to everything. If you want to learn English, don't just say, I want to be fluent. Start telling yourself, I am becoming a person who engages with English every day. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. James Clear explains that every action you take is a vote for the type of person You want to become... Each time you practice English, you're casting a vote for, I am an English speaker. Each time you choose a healthy meal, you're voting for, I am a healthy person. No single instance will transform your beliefs, but as the votes build up, so does the evidence of your new identity. This is how your habits not only help you achieve better outcomes, but literally change who you are. Let me share a personal example. For years, I tried to become a writer by setting word count goals. I would write for a few days, miss a day, feel like a failure, and eventually give up. Then I changed my approach. Instead of focusing on outcomes, number of words, I focused on identity. I am a person who writes every day, even if it's just a sentence. Some days I wrote just one paragraph, but I never missed. After months of this, writing wasn't something I did anymore. It was part of who I was. The outcome, finishing my book, came naturally because my identity had shifted. This brings us to an important insight. The goal is not to read a book. The goal is to become a reader. The goal is not to run a marathon. The goal is to become a runner. The goal is not to learn English. The goal is to become someone who practices English as part of their daily life. Once you have a new identity, you'll find yourself behaving in alignment with it. Actions that once felt difficult now feel natural because they align with who you believe yourself to be. This identity shift doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually through repeated votes for your new identity through consistent habits. As James Clear puts it, every action you take is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. Now that we understand the importance of identity and habit formation, let's explore exactly how habits form and how we can design them effectively. Section 3. The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. In this section, James Clear presents a simple but powerful framework for understanding and changing habits. The 4 Laws of Behavior Change. Whether you want to build a positive habit or break a negative. 1. These 4 laws provide a clear path forward. Let's explore them one by one. First law. Make it obvious. Our brains are constantly processing information and making decisions. To conserve energy, our brains automate as many decisions as possible through habits. The key insight is that most of our habits are triggered by cues in our environment. James Clear introduces an exercise called habit scoring, where you simply list your daily habits and become aware of them. You cannot change what you cannot see. For example, many of us automatically check our phones when we wake up. We don't consciously decide to do this. The phone on our bedside table is the cue, and checking it is the automated response. To build a new habit, you need to make the cue obvious. This is called implementation intention, which means deciding in advance when and where you'll perform a habit. Instead of saying, I'll practice English more, say, after I finish breakfast, I'll practice English for 10 minutes using my learning app. Being specific about the time and place dramatically increases your chances of following through. Another powerful technique is habit stacking, where you build new habits by stacking them onto existing ones. After I brush my teeth, I will practice 5 English phrases in the mirror. To break bad habits, make the cues invisible. If you waste time on social media, delete the apps from your phone. If you eat unhealthy snacks, don't keep them in your house. Second law, make it attractive. We are more likely to form habits for behaviors that are attractive to us. The more attractive a behavior is, the more likely it will become a habit. James Clear explains that our brains release dopamine not just when we experience pleasure, but when we anticipate it. This anticipation drives our habits. To make a habit more attractive, You can use temptation bundling, pairing an action you want to do with an action you need to do. For example, after I practice English vocabulary, I will watch my favorite English YouTube channel, want. Another technique is to join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior. If you want to improve your English, join a community of English learners or find a language exchange partner. When we see others performing a behavior, it becomes more attractive to us. To break bad habits, make them unattractive. Highlight the benefits of avoiding the bad habit and the costs of continuing it. For example, don't just think about the pleasure of eating junk food. Visualize how sluggish and unhealthy you'll feel afterward. Third law, make it easy. Humans naturally follow the law of least effort. We gravitate toward the option that requires the least amount of work. To build new habits, reduce friction. Make the habit so easy you can't say no. James Clear introduces the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. Instead of learn Spanish, your habit could be open my Spanish learning app. The idea is to make the habit so easy that you'll do it even when you don't feel motivated. This approach focuses on showing up rather than perfect performance. Once you've started doing the right thing, it's much easier to continue. The habit of showing up builds the identity of someone who does this particular activity. To break bad habits, increase friction. Make it difficult to perform the unwanted behavior. Want to watch less TV? Unplug it after each use and store the remote in a drawer in another room. Fourth law, make it satisfying. We are more likely to repeat behaviors that are satisfying. Unfortunately, many good habits provide delayed rewards, like healthy eating, while bad habits offer immediate satisfaction, like eating cake. To make good habits satisfying, James Clear suggests adding immediate rewards. For example, after studying English, give yourself 15 minutes to watch a favorite show or place a check mark on your calendar. These small rewards keep you going until the delayed rewards arrive. He also introduces habit tracking, recording each time you perform your habit. The visual progress itself becomes satisfying and creates a don't break the chain mentality that motivates consistency. For breaking bad habits, make them unsatisfying. Create a habit contract with someone else where you face immediate consequences for failing to follow through. The social cost of letting someone down can make bad habits less appealing. James Clear emphasizes that these 4 laws can be inverted to break bad habits. 1. Make it invisible, remove the cue. 2. Make it unattractive, highlight the downsides. 3. Make it difficult, add friction. 4. Make it unsatisfying, add an immediate cost. Let me show how these laws work with a real example. Imagine you want to learn English by listening to podcasts daily. Using the 4 laws. 1. Make it obvious. Place your earphones on top of your pillow so you see them first thing in the morning. Make it attractive. Choose podcasts about topics you love like travel or cooking. Make it easy. Have the podcast app open and ready on your phone's home screen. 4. Make it satisfying. Keep a streak count of days you've listened and celebrate milestones. Following these 4 laws dramatically increases your chances of sticking with your habit. Now, let's move to the final section to learn how to master advanced strategies for habit formation. Section 4. Advanced tactics for mastering your habits. In this final section, James Clear shares sophisticated strategies for fine-tuning your habits and overcoming common obstacles. The role of genetics and personality. We all have different natural inclinations and abilities. James Clear explains that the key to successful habit formation is to work with your nature, not against it. He introduces the concept of habit fitting, choosing habits that align with your natural abilities and interests. Don't force yourself into habits that work for others but feel wrong for you. For example, if you're naturally a night person, don't try to force yourself to study English at 5 a.m. just because some productivity guru recommended morning routines. Instead, lean into your natural rhythm and schedule intensive learning when you're naturally more alert and focused, perhaps in the evening. Similarly, if you love social interaction, a language exchange might work better for you than solo app learning. If you're competitive, gamified learning platforms might keep you engaged longer than traditional methods. The best habit is the one you can actually stick to. By aligning habits with your personality, you reduce the amount of willpower needed to maintain them. The Goldilocks rule: making progress at the right level of difficulty. James Clear explains that humans experience peak motivation when working on tasks that are right at the edge of their current abilities. Not too easy, not too hard. This is called the Goldilocks rule. If you're learning English and only practice words you already know, you'll get bored. If you attempt to read advanced academic texts immediately, you'll get overwhelmed and quit. The sweet spot is material that stretches you but doesn't break you, perhaps content where you understand 80% and have to work for the remaining 20%. This principle explains why many people start habits with enthusiasm but quickly lose interest. The initial period of rapid improvement is exciting, but as skills improve, progress slows and the same activities become less stimulating. To combat this, you need to continuously adjust the challenge level of your habits. As your English improves, move from beginner podcasts to intermediate ones. Graduate from simple conversations to complex discussions. This continuous adjustment keeps motivation high. The power of reflection and review. Even with perfect habit design, life happens. Unexpected events disrupt routines. Motivation fluctuates. This is why James Clear emphasizes the importance of regular reflection and adjustment. He suggests performing a habit review every few months. Ask yourself, what habits are working for me? What habits have fallen off? How can I redesign my environment to support my good habits? What new challenges am I facing? This reflection process allows you to course correct before small slips become complete abandonment of your habits.
Dealing with plateau and maintaining motivation. Every meaningful pursuit eventually hits a plateau, a period where progress seems to stall despite continued effort. This is where most people quit. James Clear offers several strategies for pushing
through plateaus. 1. Variable rewards. Occasionally change the reward you give yourself to maintain interest and motivation. 2. Habit chaining. Once a habit becomes automatic, use the extra mental bandwidth to add a slightly more advanced habit. For example, once listening to English podcasts is automatic, start taking notes while listening. 3. Identity reinforcement. During plateaus, remind yourself of the identity you're building. I am the kind of person who practices every day even when I don't see immediate results. 4. Focus on the system, not the goal. Instead of obsessing over your fluency level, focus on the system, your daily practice routine. Trust that consistency will eventually break through the plateau. The habit of continuous improvement. Perhaps the most powerful idea in the entire book is what James Clear calls the habit of habits, the meta-habit of continuous improvement. He shares the Japanese concept of kaizen, or continuous improvement. The idea isn't to create perfect habits immediately, but to create a system where you're constantly refining your habits, making them 1% better. This approach takes the pressure off. You don't need perfect habits, you need slightly better habits, day after day, year after year. James Clear concludes with this powerful thought. Success is not a goal to reach or a finish line to cross. It is a system to improve, an endless process to refine, bringing it all together. As we reach the end of our journey through Atomic Habits, let's remember the core message. Small habits, consistently applied, lead to remarkable results. The power of Atomic Habits isn't just in what they help you achieve, but in who they help you become. Through deliberate habit formation, you're not just building skills. You're building a new identity. Whether you're learning English, pursuing a career goal, improving your health, or working on any other life change, the principles remain the same. 1. Make your habits obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. 2. Focus on who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. 3. Start with habits so small you can't fail. 4. Trust the power of consistency and compound growth. Remember that learning English, like any worthy pursuit, isn't about dramatic transformations. It's about showing up day after day, practicing consistently, embracing the plateaus, and trusting the process. As James Clear says, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Build systems that make success inevitable, and you will become the person you want to be. Thank you for joining me on this journey through Atomic Habits. If this video has inspired you, taught you something new, or helped improve your English, please like this video, subscribe to Avenue of Words, and share it with someone who needs to hear this message. Remember, small habits, big changes, one day at a time. I'll see you in our next video, where we'll continue our journey of learning English and transforming lives. Until then, keep building those atomic habits.